Making the headlines tonight. Prime Minister Hun Sen announces that he will not support his son as Prime Minister if he commits deeds that are detrimental to the Cambodian People's Party and the people of Cambodia. Prime Minister Hun Sen confirms there will be no more city or country closures. Russian President Vladimir Putin announces Russia will recognize 2 breakaway regions in eastern Ukraine as independent entities. Ferrari aims to return to competition in 2022 with their new SF75 Challenger. And a 4-month-old endangered Mediterranean monk seal pup is released back into the sea. This is the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Darshana Gochan. Prime Minister Hun Sen has announced that if his son, Hun Manet, after becoming the Prime Minister, commits evil deeds to the detriment of the Cambodian People's Party and the people of Cambodia, he will no longer continue to support him. He made the statement while speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of the new Chung Aik wastewater treatment plant in Phnom Penh on Tuesday morning. EAC News reporter Dekanin has more.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has stated that he is training his son Hun Manet for the role of Prime Minister as he plans for his son to assume this role in the future with the best interest of the nation in mind. However, he has said that he would not continue to support Hun Manet if he led the country badly and damaged the interests of the nation, the people, and the Cambodian People's Party. During his speech, he also asked why the children of others can take over leadership roles from their fathers but not his son, alluding to some of the criticism that have come in response to the Prime Minister's declaration that his son will be the future Prime Minister of Cambodia. He further added that Hun Manet has received enough knowledge to assume the role of Prime Minister well, but if Hun Manet was to do bad things or lead the country badly, then Prime Minister Hun Sen would not be able to support him because he does not want the CPP or the Cambodian nation to be destroyed by his children's deeds.
រឿងអីកូនគេធ្វើបានអ្នកដទៃធ្វើបានហើយកូនខ្ញុំទទួលបានការបដិបដាលប៉ុណ្ណឹងធ្វើមិនបានប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំសូមបញ្ជាក់បើសិនជាកូនខ្ញុំវាធ្វើអំពើអាក្រក់ខ្ញុំមិនអាចនឹងគ្រប់គ្រងវាបានទេនិយាយឲ្យច្បាស់ខ្ញុំមិនអាចឲ្យគណៈបកប្រជាជនត្រូវបំផ្លាញដោយកូនរបស់ខ្ញុំទេ ហើយខ្ញុំក៏មិនទុកឲ្យប្រជាពលរដ្ឋត្រូវបំផ្លាញដោយស្នាដៃកូនរបស់ខ្ញុំទេ
Previously, at the 43rd Central Committee meeting of the CPP held on the 24th of December 2021, the party officially declared the unanimous decision to elect Hun Manet as the future candidate of Prime Minister, after Prime Minister Hun Sen has decided to step down from this role. 44-year-old Hun Manet is the eldest son of Prime Minister Hun Sen. He was the first Cambodian to graduate from the West Point Military Academy in the United States and also holds a doctorate of economics from the University of Bristol in the United Kingdom. Hun Manet also holds the rank of 3-star Lieutenant General as the Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the Royal Cambodian Armed Forces and the Commander-in-Chief of the Royal Cambodian Army. Dekanin, EAC News.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has confirmed that there will be no more city or country closures or lockdowns, while many have suggested that Cambodia may likely see another blockade. He made this statement on Tuesday morning while speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of Bong Chung Aik wastewater treatment plant in Minche District, Phnom Penh. EAC News reporter Robin Lim has more details.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has said that there is no need to close Phnom Penh or the whole country again, as done in 2021, due to the high vaccination rate in the Cambodian population. He said that while in the past, if there were infections found in the market, we would have to close the market, but now we just need to close the shop of the infected vendor and have the place disinfected. This is the normal process and no market-wide closures will need to take place. He continued to say that he would like to end the rumor that there would be a closure of cities and provinces again. He said the decision to close Phnom Penh and Tak Mau in the past was a difficult but correct one, because at that time we had not been fully vaccinated, but now we have vaccinated the whole country, so there is no reason to close again.
នៅក្នុងពេលវេលាមួយដ៏លំបាកដោយសារយើងអត់តាន់ចាក់វ៉ាក់សាំងប៉ុន្តែឥឡូវនេះយើងអត់មានតម្រូវការណាមួយសម្រាប់ការបិទទីក្រុង ឬបិទគោលដៅទេ
In 2021, due to the 20th of February community transmission event, Cambodia was forced to close the country to prevent a large-scale outbreak in the country. This year, despite the rising number of new infections in the community due to the COVID-19 Omicron variant, Prime Minister Hun Sen has confirmed that there will be no more country closures. Dekanin, EAC News.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has called on citizens to be careful not to throw their garbage out in the open and on the streets, to maintain the beauty of the city as well as to maintain the quality of the sewage system. EAC News reporter Dekanin has more.
While speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of Bung Chung Aik wastewater treatment plant in Min Jae district, Phnom Penh on Tuesday morning, Prime Minister Hun Sen stated that the concern of Phnom Penh at this time is that the people do not keep the streets clean and throw their garbage properly. He said some garbage is thrown into the sewers, which clogs the drainage system and causes problems such as flooding when it rains. He continued that despite the proliferation of separate garbage bins for solid waste and liquid waste, there are some citizens who still refuse to separate their trash accordingly. The Prime Minister thus appealed to residents and visitors of Phnom Penh to pay attention to the correct system of garbage separation to keep the environment clean and a shared sense of responsibility. He added that the city's official cleaners and garbage retrieval services cannot be blamed as they are not responsible for the way the garbage is disposed. And managing the garbage is simple enough and not a difficult process, so citizens must actively take effort to dispose of their trash responsibly. This is especially important given increasing consumption rate in Phnom Penh, he said, which has increased the amount of garbage produced in a day. He added that currently 3,000 tons of garbage is being collected per day. In Phnom Penh, the amount of garbage collected per day has been steadily increasing from around 2,600 tons in 2018 to around 2,900 tons in 2019. At present, the landfill is unable to accommodate for the increased amount of garbage produced in Phnom Penh yet, which is a major challenge that requires an urgent solution. Dekanin, EAC News.
While delivering a speech at the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of Bung Chung Aik wastewater treatment plant on Tuesday morning, Prime Minister Hun Sen called on the sellers of COVID-19 treatment drugs to not increase prices to ensure that the medicine can still be affordable to all. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
The Prime Minister has said that the government is working to increase the supply of COVID-19 treatment drugs and to further implored pharmacies and people selling the medicine to not increase prices as they wish to say the drugs can still be affordable for everyone. He further stated that the health department must check whether the drugs being sold are real or not, because counterfeits happen a lot. There is even counterfeit alcohol, so everyone must be careful of counterfeit drugs. The Minister of Health has also announced it will take legal action against unauthorised sale of COVID-19 medicine among sellers who do not have valid visa numbers or approved registrations from the Ministry, as the sale of unauthorised drugs may endanger the health and lives of consumers. This is a warning from the Ministry came after a number of Facebook accounts began promoting the sale of unregistered COVID-19 treatment products. The Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications has also issued a statement stating that the COVID-19 treatment drug Melantris should not be sold more than $65. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
The Cambodian Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued a press release on Monday announcing the Prime Minister of Malaysia's official state visit to Cambodia from 23rd to 24th February 2022 at the invitation of Prime Minister Hun Sen. EAC News reporter Dekanin has more.
At the invitation of Prime Minister Hun Sen, the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Dato Sri Ismail Sabri bin Yaakob, will lead a high-level delegation to pay an official visit to the Kingdom of Cambodia from the 23rd to 24th of February 2022. During the visit, the Malaysian Premier will be received by His Royal Highness King Norodom Sihamuni at the Royal Palace, and the Prime Minister will also pay courtesy calls to the President of the Senate, Sai Chum, and the President of the National Assembly, Heng Samrin. The Cambodian and Malaysian Prime Ministers will hold a meeting to discuss bilateral relations and cooperation, including trade and investment, economy, defense and security, and post-COVID-19 socio-economic recovery. The two leaders will also exchange views on regional and international issues of common interest and concern, and at the end of the meeting, they will hold a joint press conference. The Prime Minister of Malaysia will also lay a wreath at the Independence Monument and pay tribute to the Royal Memorial statue of the late King Father Norodom Sihanouk. As 2022 marks the 65th anniversary of the establishment of the diplomatic relations between Cambodia and Malaysia, the official visit of Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri bin Yaakob will be a significant milestone to further strengthen the existing good bonds of friendship, solidarity, and cooperation between the two countries, in both bilateral and multilateral frameworks for the mutual benefits of the two nations. Dekanin, EAC News.
The Ministry of Planning has announced that the 2022 economic census will be conducted from 1st to 31st March 2022 nationwide, with a total of 5,000 interviews conducted with officials in order to calculate and evaluate economic growth by sector in each provincial capital. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
The Ministry of Planning has stated that the 2022 census must have accurate, reliable and timely data to meet the demand for data based on the economic context in the capitals, provinces, regions and the world, which has progressed with the fourth generation of the Industrial Revolution and will bring modern technology for the development of the digital economic in line with the rectangular strategy phrase 4 of the Royal Government of Cambodia. Senior Minister of Planning, Chai Ton, has said that the census data will provide important input for the policy formulation, economic development and environment, society and culture, and will also provide indicators for Cambodia's strategy to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. He further stated that this is the second economic census of its kind, first conducted in 2011 under the name Enterprise Census in the Kingdom of Cambodia 2011. Although in 2014 a similar survey was conducted at the smaller scale under the name Survey Between Enterprises and Kingdom of Cambodia 2014. The senior minister also mentioned that according to the preliminary results of the census of the economic units in the 25 provincial capitals, there will be a total of 743,532 economic units in 2021 nationwide. The number of economic entries increased by about 47% compared to date from 2011 census, an increase by about 45% in 2014. The preliminary results also show the change in the population structure and its Ministry of Geography at the local level, villages, communes and districts and the provincial capitals, with a total of population of nearly 16 million people and a total of 3.6 million households in 2019. The Director General of National Institute of Statistics from the Ministry of Planning, Hung Lina, has stated that the census staff will visit the bases of factories, enterprises, companies, pagodas and businesses of all sizes to inquire about business-related information, and the results of the census will be officially announced in 2023. She further suggested that economic entries operating in specific locations should be prepared and participate in the census. The economic census is conducted every 10 years based on Article 678 of the Law of Statistics and the sub-degree number 151 dated the 2nd of October 2019. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
Cambodia has recorded 598 new COVID-19 cases, including 26 which are imported. There have been 358 patient recoveries and 2 new deaths. Cambodia's Omicron cases now surge past a total of 7,000, and for the third day straight, after a gap of 6 weeks, the country has recorded new deaths, bringing the total up to 3,022. The kingdom recorded 570 new community and 26 new imported cases of the new variant, meaning that Cambodia has now recorded 7,134 cases of Omicron, 756 imported, and 6,378 community cases. Cambodia's COVID-19 case tally has now climbed to 127,575. The death toll stands at 3,022. The number of patients treated successfully since the pandemic reached Cambodia is 121,125, and the tally for imported cases has climbed to 20,613. Healthcare workers are now treating a total of 3,427 patients. And now for a look at news-making international headlines this Tuesday, 22nd February.
Chile has stepped up patrols near its shared border with Bolivia as authorities seek to stem an increase in migrants crossing the frontier desert area legally. It comes about a week since Santiago brought in a new immigration law that regulates cross-border movement. According to local officials, hundreds of migrants without proper documentations have been detained in recent days to be sent back across the border. Officials say their presence at the border is also helping to tackle crimes such as people trafficking. Tensions between migrants and the Chilean citizens have spilled over in recent weeks. Migrants have set up tent camps in public spaces for temporary shelters, drawing an ire of locals. Also, some residents blame the newcomers for a spike in crime. Migration and crime were big voter concerns in presidential elections late last year, where we were won by Gabriel Boric, 35, a leftist lawmaker and a former student protest leader who comes into office in March.
A U.S.-built F-5 jet used by the Iranian military crashed into the wall of a school in the northwestern city of Tabriz on Monday, February 21, killing the two pilots and a person on the ground. The school was closed at the time of the crash just before 9 a.m., Army spokesman Shaneen Taki Kani has said. The Army spokesperson has also said technical failure appeared to be the cause of the crash, but that an investigation was underway. The pilot and a trainee pilot were killed, as well as a civilian passing by in a car, he has confirmed. Experts say Iran has a poor air safety record, with repeated crashes, many involving U.S.-built aircraft, bought before the 1979 Islamic Revolution. The United States, which broke diplomatic ties in 1980 after Iranian students took U.S. diplomats hostage, has imposed sanctions on Iran, making it difficult for Tehran to buy spare parts for its military and civilian aircraft.
A large fire has destroyed a 5-story apartment building with around 50 units early on Monday, February 21, in the western Germany city of Essen, injuring at least 3 people according to the local fire department. Around 100 residents had to flee the building after being woken up by the fire in the middle of the night. The flames were reportedly fanned by the storm Antonia. Residents described a chaotic scene that began at approximately 2 a.m. as someone yelled, "Fire! Fire!" prompting people to leave their homes as quickly as possible. Spokesman Christopher Riese has said residents have raised the alarm at 2:15 a.m. and that when the first firefighters had reached the scene, the fire had already spread at a very high speed over a large area of the building. Those who were injured have suffered from gas poisoning and were taken to the hospital. The fire took place in the West Viertel neighborhood, which lies directly west of the Essen city center. The cause is still unknown, but police have said that as soon as the blaze is brought under control, an investigation will be carried out. 3 people have been reported injured by the fire so far due to smoke inhalation. Eyewitnesses say that the fire spread within the span of 20 minutes. The flames were reportedly fueled in a large part by strong winds from the storm Antonia, which battered parts of western and southern Germany on Sunday night. Antonia is the 3rd severe weather event in Germany in less than a week.
Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday, February 21st, has announced Russia will recognize 2 breakaway regions in Ukraine's east as independent entities, the Donetsk and Luhansk. Putin has said he was confident that Russia's citizens supported the decision, brushing off Western warnings that such a step would be illegal and would kill off peace negotiations.
Putin has announced his decision at the end of a televised national address lasting almost 1 hour. Shortly after his address, state television has aired footage of the Russian president signing a decree formally recognizing the breakaway regions of Donetsk and Luhansk as independent. Moscow's move could torpedo a last-minute bid for a summit with U.S. President Joe Biden to prevent Russia from invading Ukraine, and the ruble extended its losses as Putin spoke on this issue, falling 3.3% on the day to 79.83 per dollar. The European Union has warned of sanctions from the 27-nation bloc should Moscow annex or recognize the breakaway regions in the east of Ukraine and largely controlled by Russia-backed separatists. If there is annexation, there will be sanctions, and if there is recognition, I will put the sanctions on the table and the ministers will decide. the European Union's foreign policy chief, Josep Borrell, has said after a meeting of the bloc's foreign ministers. Recognition of the rebel-held areas could provide a pretext for Russian troops to cross the border into those areas. In his address, Putin has railed against Ukraine, saying that neo-Nazis were on the rise, oligarchic clans were rife, and that the ex-Soviet country was a U.S. colony with a puppet regime. He has described Eastern Ukraine as ancient Russian lands and modern Ukraine as a state created by the Bolsheviks after the 1917 revolution. Putin has also said that Ukraine never had a tradition of genuine statehood and complained that the post-Soviet Ukraine had wanted everything it could from Moscow without doing anything in return. The Russian president has also stressed that Ukraine is not just a neighboring country, it's an integral part of Russia's history, culture, spiritual continuum.
Hong Kong rushed to build isolation facilities to house thousands of coronavirus patients as construction crews from mainland China have worked in the rain and chilly weather on Monday, February 21st.
A local Hong Kong resident has said when the Hong Kong government dealt with the COVID-19 outbreaks, it was like blind man and an elephant operating without a plan. Now the mainland China is involved in taking the lead, which is a good thing. The Kai Tak cruise terminal, where the city's old airport once stood, will be turned into a dedicated COVID facility with 1,000 beds to mitigate overburdened public hospitals. The conversion of public housing estates, rental or commercial hotels, and indoor sports centers will also add an extra 20,000 units for people who tested positive for COVID but had no or mild symptoms for isolation. Scenes of people lying outside public hospitals in the rain and chilly weather have shocked many in the global financial hub, leading to an apology from authorities. The global financial hub's dynamic zero COVID policies, mirroring those in mainland China, have contributed to its current woes and are unsustainable, some experts say.
U.S. President Joe Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin have agreed in principle to a summit over Ukraine, the office of French President Emmanuel Macron has announced on Monday, February 21st, provided Russia does not invade its neighbor.
In a statement released early Monday, the Élysée Palace had said Macron had pitched both leaders on a summit over security and strategic stability in Europe. The statement says Presidents Biden and Putin have both accepted the principle of such a summit, before adding that such a meeting would be impossible if Russia invaded Ukraine, as Western nations fear it plans to. The White House did not immediately return a message seeking comment. The announcement, released after a volley of phone calls between Macron and leaders on both sides of the Atlantic, comes after a week of heightened tension spurred by Russia's military buildup and down the Ukrainian border.
After the break, a look at all the latest sports news.
If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
តើលោកអ្នកចិត្តរៀបអាពាហ៍ពិពាហ៍មែនទេហើយពិបាករកក្រុមហ៊ុនថតវីដេអូផ្សាយផ្ទាល់ដែលមានគុណភាពមែនទេអស់កង្វល់រ៉ាទីកាជាក្រុមហ៊ុនទទួលស្គាល់លំដាប់អន្តរជាតិលើសេវាកម្មថតផ្សាយផ្ទាល់គ្រប់កម្មវិធីកម្រិត 4K ដំបូងបង្អស់នៅកម្ពុជារ៉ាទីកាប្រើប្រាស់ឧបករណ៍ទំនើបម៉ាកល្បីធានាគុណភាពការផលិតតាមបច្ចេកវិទ្យាទាន់សម័យរ៉ាទីកានឹងជួយធ្វើឲ្យកម្មវិធីលោកអ្នកកាន់តែមានភាពអស្ចារ្យលោកអ្នកនឹងបានឃើញរាល់សកម្មភាពក្នុងពិធីទៅលើកញ្ចក់ទូរទស្សន៍ទំហំធំកម្រិត 4K និងការបញ្ចាំងលើផ្ទាំងក្រណាត់សព្រមទាំង LED ដែលមានរូបភាពច្បាស់ត្រជាក់ភ្នែកសូមអញ្ជើញកក់ពីឥឡូវនេះតាមរយៈលេខទូរស័ព្ទ012 823 848 017 838 889និង016 823 848រ៉ាហ្វីកាទំនុកចិត្តការទទួលខុសត្រូវនិងគុណភាពខ្ពស់
something. You about to see something. It's coming, it's coming. We're unstoppable now. Ain't nothing gonna take us down. We're unstoppable now. Fade to black, take a bow, yeah. We're unstoppable now. Here it comes.
Ferrari is aiming for a return to competitiveness in 2022 with their SF75 Challenger, unveiled carrying the weight of history and expectation for the sport's oldest and most successful team.
They have crowned some of the sport's greatest, including Jan Manuel Fonego, Alberto Ascari, Niki Lauda and Michael Schumacher. But their last champion remains now retired Kimi Räikkönen, who won the title in 2007. Last year, the team, despite bouncing back from a dismal 2020 to take third in the constructors' standings, without a win for the second season in a row. The Manala Bay squad have raced in every season of Formula One since the champion was founded in 1950 and have won more races and championships than anyone. Our objective in 2022 certainly is being back to being competitive, and being competitive means capable of winning races. Team principal Mattia Benato told reporters following the car's launch. That's the way we see it at the moment, and I think we were pretty happy if we were in that position. Formula One is introducing its biggest rule shake-up in decades, with cars featuring revised aerodynamics and bigger 18-inch wheels aimed to improving the racing spectre. The new rules could shake up the established order and Ferrari, who unveiled a stunning new car done up with red and black livery in a throwback to the past, and clearly eyed this season as an opportunity. What makes us confident about this year's car is the work I've seen in the past few months. It's never easy to know until you're really on the track for the qualifying of the year and see the final picture, but the feeling is good.
World number one Novak Djokovic belatedly began his 2022 campaign with a convincing 6-3, 6-3 defeat of Italian teenager Lorenzo Musetti at the Dubai Championships on Monday, 21st February.
The 34-year-old showed no sign of rust or mental baggage from the Australian Open visa saga that rocked the sports world, producing a polished display that eased into the second round afterwards, describing it as a pleasant experience. Djokovic's first match this year after his Australian Open hopes were dashed when he was deported following an 11-day saga revolving around his decision not to have a COVID-19 vaccination and a controversial exemption he had been granted to play in the event. Back on the tennis court of Dubai's Aviation Club, Djokovic showed just why he would have been favored to win a 10th Australian Open crowd and beat Rafa Nadal to a men's record 21st Grand Slam title. After being cheered onto court by the late-night crowd, he moved to the gears, breaking Musetti's serve in the fourth game of a routine first set. Djokovic, watched by his entourage including his wife Jelena, got an early break in the second set with a forehand winner. Even if he wins the Dubai title for the sixth time, he could lose his number one world ranking this week should Russian Daniil Medvedev win the Acapulco title. But for Djokovic, enjoying an ATP record 361st week as number one, that was the last thing on his mind as he put one of the darkest episodes of his career behind him. Djokovic, who last week said in a BBC he was not against vaccines, but he was prepared to miss major tournaments rather than have one, will have a day off before facing either Russian Karen Khachanov or Australian Alex de Minaur. Asked by reporters later how he had been received by his fellow players, he said they have been very friendly. Majority of them actually welcomed me and said it's nice to see me back on the tour, he said. That makes me feel great. I'm very thankful for that because having the kind of an understanding, at least I would say, if not support from my peers and my colleagues, is very important to me because they are the people that I get to see sometimes more than my family. I care greatly about the relationships that we have. While Djokovic has had no issue being allowed to play in Dubai, he said he currently will not be able to play at Indian Wells because of the strict vaccine laws in the United States. As of today, I am not able to play, but let's see what happens. Maybe things change in the next few weeks.
Stephen Curry scored 50 points and set an all-star game record with 16 three-pointers to give Team LeBron a 163-160 victory over Team Durant on Sunday night in Cleveland.
Curry, playing for the Team LeBron, shattered the former All-Star record of 9 three-pointers set by Paul George in 2016. The Golden State Warriors star fell 2 points shy of scoring records set by Anthony Davis in 2017, but still took home the MVP honors with his dazzling performance. Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers had 36 points and 10 rebounds to lead Team Durant. LeBron James of the Los Angeles Lakers hit the game-ending shot, reach the target score, and give Team LeBron the victory. Giannis Antetokounmpo of Milwaukee Bucks had 30 points and 12 rebounds for the Team LeBron. James scored 24 points while playing in his 18th All-Star game, one shy of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record. Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns added 20 points for the Team Durant. The third quarter ended with Team Durant holding a 139-138 lead. They set a target winning score at 163, with the NBA adding 24 points to the leading total after 3 quarters. It is the third straight year that the formula has been part of the game. Curry's 16th three-pointer gave Team LeBron a 144-139 lead. Embiid's three-point play later pulled Team Durrant with 151-150 and then sank the 2 free throws to give his team a 1-point lead. Curry's 16th three-pointer gave the Team LeBron a 144-139 lead. Enbridge's three-point play later pulled Team Durrant within 151-150 and then he sank 2 free throws to give his team a 1-point lead. Antetokounmpo later scored back-to-back baskets. James added a layup and DeMar DeRozan of Chicago Bulls hit a turnaround to give Team LeBron a 161-155 lead. Chicago Bulls guard Zach LaVine scored 5 straight points to Team Durant before James drained the 17-foot fadeaway jumper that gave his team a required 163 points. Curry attempted 27 three-pointers and was 17 of 30 overall from the field. Between halves, members of the NBA's 75th anniversary team were honoured. When play resumed, Curry knocked down 5 three-pointers in 128 seconds, including 3 shots from 37 and 33 feet. His second three-pointer during the stretch, a 25-foot with 8.37 remaining in the third quarter, was his 10th to break George's record. Curry added 2 more three-pointers later in the stanza to take the total of 15 into the final quarter. Both teams scored 45 points in the third period. Curry had 24 first-half points on the record, 8 three-pointers for the half, but Team LeBron trailed 94-93 at the break. Emerald had 17 first-half points to space Team Durant.
Yeah, this is definitely special. The first year, you got to honor Kobe and his life and his legacy with this trophy. You know, all the thought that went into it. I can't spit it off the top of my head, but I know that everything on this trophy means something in terms of his life and what he represented, accomplishments on the court, and to have it be an all-star MVP trophy and, you know, for it to be the first one, it definitely makes it special. I've only won one, and to have this one, it will have a special place at my house. And like you said, the 75 thing or list and the ceremony was very surreal for sure, especially I know for me and the rest of the active players that are on that list. This is obviously a dream come true, but it's something that you don't really get to appreciate until that moment at halftime. And you see everybody walking out and you understand where you are in the history of the league. So it's pretty special. Takes some energy to boo, so you got to care a lot to do that. So I try to channel that into the performance tonight and just have fun with it. And I got hot early and kept it going and try to put on a little bit of a show, and the joy started to come out, and hopefully everybody appreciated it.
To answer your first question, I couldn't have dreamt it. I could not have dreamed of that moment any better than the actuality that just happened. For me to be back here, you know, like I keep staying 35 minutes south of where I grew up here in Akron, Ohio, to hit the game winner in the All-Star game where me and my guys back in the back, we, you know, used to watch the All-Star game.
And now for a look at how the weather will be playing out tomorrow. And finally, a 4-month-old endangered Mediterranean monk seal pup, Evie, has pulled through months of treatment after being orphaned on a Greek beach and has been released back into the sea. Evie was released into a marine park on the deserted island of Gyros in the northern Cyclades, a Natura 2000 region and home to protected species of seals, fish, and birds.
A video shows Evie waddling into the sea after being released from a cage in a beach cove by conservationists. Mediterranean monk seals of the Monachus monachus species number only in the hundreds, with half, about 300 to 400, being in Greece. Entrapment from fishing, pollution, depletion of food resources, and climate change are some of the factors that threaten the species. Residents on the island of Evia found Evie alone on a beach in October 2021 when she was 7 days old, and experts have said she was probably thrown on shore due to bad weather and separated from her nursing mother. Heavy storms and winds often wash seal pups on shore, stranding them from their mothers. She was really dehydrated in the beginning, which is very common with pups that separate from their mothers at such an early age, and the first few weeks were critical for her health because basically there's no way to replenish the mother's milk, said Dimitri Siakalos of the Hellenic Society for the Study and Protection of the Monk Seal, which undertook Evie's care and treatment in their care center. During treatment, Evie had to be fed through a tube. Her diet progressed from supplements to fish porridge, then fish fillet, followed by whole fish placed into the care center's pool so that Evie could catch fish on her own. We are full of anxiety until their release, because something bad could always happen and an animal could be lost, said the organization's project manager Eleni Tunta. Evie has been fitted with transmitters to track her movements. Now we are hoping that she will connect with the rest of the seals because that is where she belongs. We are really sad to see her go, obviously, because we have been with her for 4 months. We fed her during the night. We had to feed her 4 times a day, said Siakalos. Since 1990, half of some 31 rescued seals in Greece have been successfully released back into the wild, with Aristotle University professor of veterinary medicine in Thessaloniki, Anastasia Komniniou, in charge of the seal rehabilitation program at MOM. Half of them were males and half of them were females, something which is really important for the population, Professor Komniniou added. The seals have suffered illnesses such as hypothermia, hypoglycemia, anemia, malnutrition, parasites, and infectious diseases, says Komniniou. Last year, the killing of a monk seal named Kostis by a harpoon after it had been rescued and released back into the wild caused an uproar in Greece.
Thank you for watching the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. For more breaking news and updates, you can check out our website, eacnews.asia, or search EAC News on Telegram or at your favorite app store. More from the EAC News team tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We will see you then.